So I'm gonna scooch back now that everyone's here. So I'm gonna go back up here. Can everyone still see and hear me? Okay, perfect. So hi everyone. Um, I am Stephanie Anderson, and so today we're going to be doing a 60-ish minute Hatha flow class. And it's going to have some seated options as well as some laying down. Everything that's laying down also has a seated option to make sure there's something for everyone. Um, so make sure you're in your space, you're nice and comfortable, you have enough space to lay down, move your arms and legs, stand up, and then also have your water nearby. Because I'm going to encourage you to take sips of water throughout the class whenever you need it. Uh, let's see. I already reminded you about your camera, so we're good there. And as a other reminder, I know I mentioned it a few times in the email, but this is completely your practice. So I'm going to be guiding and making suggestions throughout, but it is completely up to you. You can take what you like and leave what you don't, making sure you're checking in with what feels good in your body today. So first off, to kind of center us all, we're going to take some deep breaths in together, and making sure that you're nice and seated for the moment. So we'll inhale together and focusing on bringing that fresh, crisp air in. And as you exhale, releasing what no longer serves you. So we'll do it two more times of inhaling and exhaling. Inhale and exhale. Okay. So part of what today's class is about letting it fall and letting the leaves teach us a lesson. So autumn doesn't rush. The trees don't cling to their leaves and they don't force them to drop. They simply let go when it's time. In our lives, we sometimes hold on to thoughts, habits, or stories that no longer serve us, maybe out of comfort and maybe out of fear. But just like the trees, we have seasons too. And in this moment, we can practice trusting the timing of the release. Letting go doesn't mean we have to push something away. It can be as simple as softening our grip on something and as simple as an exhale. As we move through our practice today, I invite you to notice what it's been that you've been carrying that's ready to be set down in this moment. You don't have to name it, just imagine it drifting away leaf by leaf, with every breath during our practice today. And remember, when the leaves fall, the tree is not empty. It's making space for rest, renewal, and for the quiet work beneath the surface. So uh, while we breathe and we move, we'll allow this to be a practice of gentle release, twisting that space we create to just as important, or trusting, not twisting, trusting the space that we're creating is just as important as what we fill it with. So with that in mind, we're actually going to move into mountain pose Tadasana. So we're going to be standing at the top of our mat. And you'll want your feet about hip width apart, and wanting your shoulders down and your crown nice and tall. And in order to really ground into our space and into our bodies, we're going to do some pranayama, which is a yogic breath. And we're going to do a 4-part breath. So you're going to inhale to the count of 4 and exhale, and I'll count for us. Please know that this is an option. If you feel that this is making you hold your breath longer than you'd like, feel free to do it at your own pace. And if this just does not call to you at all today, also feel free to stand here, grounding your feet and focusing inward on your breath on your own. Okay, so we're going to inhale, 2, 3, 4, And exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. And just continue that for a little bit as you check in of just inhaling, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Last time. Inhale, exhale. I don't remember if it was inhale or exhale. But just finish whichever you're on. Go ahead and do one more to balance of inhale and exhale. Awesome. So now I like to do a little wiggle after some pranayama to reconnect with my body after breathing as well. But do whatever feels right. And we're going to move on to some shoulder rolls. So starting by bringing them up and then pushing them back towards your shoulder blades and just making some nice circles here, um, making it a nice broad across your chest as you go backwards. Friendly reminder as we're standing here to keep a nice micro bend in your knees. That way you're not locking them. Don't want anyone passing out today. Right, and we can go ahead and switch directions. So bringing that forward, kind of scrunching and dropping down. Imagine it of your just dropping what no longer serves you in your shoulders here. Also to like bring some more movement up to our head, we're gonna do um, some neck circles. And then what I like to do in order to prevent any crunching of the neck is to imagine you have a pencil at the top of your head. There's a nice little pencil here, and you're just gonna try to draw some circles on your ceiling with your head. And they can be big circles, they can be little circles. You can even make a nice little swirl and go from big to small. Just being nice and cautious of not dropping your head too far. We're going to switch directions, making those circles or those swirls, loosening up your head and your neck. And then another kind of funny one is now you have the pencil on your nose. So you're going to draw the circles with the paintbrush or the pencil on your nose, bringing your head and your nose up and then down to make that circle in front of you. And you can go nice and slow if that feels good. You can go faster. And if any point in your circle feels nice and you want to pause there, this is your opportunity to do that as well. Okay. Now we're going to do a standing side bend here. So starting on our right hand side, you're going to bring your right hand up and go ahead and lean over, feeling that arch and that stretch on your right hand side. If it feels good, you can have your hand on your thigh or on your hip for extra support on your spine, whichever feels nice here. We want our feet still nice and grounded with their four corners. So you imagine your pinky toe, the ball of your feet, and your heels nice and grounded. And we're keeping that micro bend in your knee. And then we're going to reach through the middle as if we're branches reaching for the sun. Oh, I am touching my ceiling. Hopefully, your ceilings are taller than mine. And then we're bending over. So our left hand is arching up, and your right side is down. Now we're a nice little branch bending in the wind. Once again, you can have it thigh or on the back to support your lower back. Holding here for a few breaths. Up through the middle, our hands reaching tall for branches. Nice stretch of the spine. If your ceiling is taller, you can reach with nice flat hands, or you can put them kind of like a sandwich and reach up, whichever feels best on your shoulders and your elbows. Being careful not to fully lock elbows and still a micro bend to protect the joints. Swoop down. Now we'll move to some standing twists. So we're gonna have our hips facing forward as we take our arms out, and we'll stretch to the left side. If it feels good or it feels more accessible, you can have your hands on your hips and rotate your torso that way. That can help reduce any strain on your shoulders. And you want to make sure your hips are staying square and you're twisting your torso. And it can be okay if it's little or it's bigger. Imagining our trunk of our body is the trunk of our tree. Coming through middle. And now regrounding, having a micro bend in our knees, feet fully planted as we turn to our right hand side. You can have your arms out, or you can have them on your hips. And at any point in these twists, if it's feeling a little too spicy, feel free to come out, reset, take some breaths. And then if it feels good, go back. And if it doesn't, just hang and focus on your breaths and connecting inward. Okay. Coming through middle, we're going to go into chair pose. So I'm going to demonstrate it kind of sideways, but you're going to want to put your weight in your heels, keeping your spine nice and long. And you'll want to bend your knees almost as if you're going to sit into a chair. And that can be this is what's comfortable for me today, but if it feels better to go deeper, if it feels better, especially if you have any injuries of your knees, to keep it more of a slight bend and a slight chair, um, that works as well. And you want to make sure that your knee, when you look down at your chair, you can still see your toes. You want to make sure your knees are not over your toes. There's also, since I see most of us have a wall, if you need that support, you can use the wall to help support, almost like a wall sit, or if you need it for balance, those are good options as well. Um, so as we're here in our chair pose, we're just going to inhale our arms up as we're growing the leaves, and then we're going to exhale arms down as we let the leaves fall. Inhale, exhale. If it feels good, you can add some pulsing as well while you inhale. Grow strong in your trees, straightening your legs. Exhale, come into chair pose as you drop your leaves to the ground. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Keeping your chest up and your head up as well here. Last time we're dropping our leaves. Very nice, guys. All your folks are doing well. From here, we're gonna bring our feet back to hip width apart, doing a nice forward fold. You're going to bend your knees and try to reach. If you have blocks, this can be a great time for blocks or books to bring the ground closer to you. Also can be a great time for your thighs, where you're grabbing your thighs as you're bending over. But you want to make sure you're hinging from hips. Also keeping a bend in your knee if it feels good. A generous bend here can feel quite nice. Really about feeling that stretch in your spine here. And we are imagining we're folding like a leaf, drifting down to the earth, releasing our spines gently. And if you have any kind of sensation where this is a little spicy, feel free to come up and keep your head and your heart above your hips. Staying in the pose for a couple more breaths. And slowly rolling up one vertebrae at a time to protect your spine here. And as we move into the next pose, we're going to bring our feet out wide. Um, and we're going to have our toes pointing out. So if you're on a mat, you can imagine they're kind of pointing more towards the corner or like 45-degree. Make sure you play with this. Make sure it feels nice and sturdy. You can have your legs out wider or shorter, depending on what feels good in your body today. And we are going to sink into goddess pose. So bending our knees, making sure our knees are over our ankles. And as you sink into this, feel free to bring your arms out like you're doing golf post or like you're a cactus. Either of these can feel nice on your shoulders. And if you want to bring in a little bit of a back bend here, you can bring your shoulders and try to touch your shoulder blades together with your arms. And if it feels good, you can go ahead and pulsate in and out to give your thighs a little bit of a rest. Um, or you can stay goddess, feeling those hips start to open up. If this feels a little spicy on the knees, also feel free to bring your legs closer together, or you can have a little bit of a higher stance for your goddess here. Bringing that stretch into the back and hips. Last breath here. Awesome. Good job, everyone. Next, we're going to keep our legs nice and wide. You can bring them probably wider than hip distance. Once again, make sure you feel grounded and supported as we're going to go into a wide legged forward fold. So making sure after that goddess pose, our toes are out. For the forward fold, we'll want them back to parallel. So my toes are pointed back to you all. With a micro bend in our knees, we'll want to hinge forward and reach wherever feels good. It can be your thighs if that feels good. You can reach and land on shins, blocks if you have them, tented hands, or flat hands on the ground here. Making sure the crown of your head is toward the floor, if that feels good. Once again, if you have any kind of sensation um, and that does not feel good, you can keep your head and your heart slightly higher to make sure everything feels nice and good in your body. Slowly bringing your spine back up to standing, one vertebrae at a time, with your head being the last. We're gonna slowly and safely make our way into a low lunge, starting on the left side. So your left knee is going to be in a 90-degree angle with your toes facing forward, and your right knee is going to be on the ground with your foot flat, so your toes are on the ground. Now, I have a nice little blanket here. So I'd recommend if you have a blanket and that feels nice, you can have that under your back knee for a little bit more support here. And as we're here, we want to make sure that once again, that knee is over your ankles and your chest is lifted as you lean into your hip, bringing that lunge for a little bit of stretch here. You could have your arms up. That you can also have your hands on your knee if that, or your thigh rather, if that feels more accessible today. Hold here for a couple moments. We're gonna add a little bit of movement. So we'll be going into a half split. So from where your foot is currently, just rocking back on that heel so your toes are up, a nice bend in your knee. And if it feels good, you can lean over and either have your hand on your thigh, your hips, or on the ground. And now, after a couple of breaths here, feeling it in that leg. Maybe you feel the sensation in your calf. Maybe it's in your thigh, even your hip or your glute. Just notice where you're feeling that sensation. And now feel free to flow in between the two, feeling that going forward into a lunge, rocking back into a half split. Go with your breath and what feels good for you. You can go slow, feel the sensation. If you go faster, there's some heat. If you're looking for heat today, just being mindful of as you go forward, that knee over that ankle. Couple more breaths here. And with everyone, everyone's looking good. Okay. Now, once you feel nice and balanced again, make sure you're coming up. Chest is high. And when you're ready, go ahead and swap over. Friendly reminder, or some slow sips of water as we're grounding in and checking today. So this time your right foot will be in front, your right knee over ankle, and your left knee making a nice degree. We'll lean in for the lunge, keeping hands on hips, on thigh, extended overhead in order to feel the stretch here. Tuning in where you find this in your body. And on that next inhale, rising up, so you're pointing your toes to the sky, heel to the ground, half split. Keeping that chest lifted if needed. This is another one. If you have books, cans, blocks, It can feel nice to have these on either side of your calf. Any height can feel helpful. Also great for balancing. You're like me and you're a little wobbly today. And as you feel all to do so, you can go ahead and rotate through that half split and that low lunge to get some movement in the joint. If you're saying, Steph, the movement is not for me, and I want to hang out in one pose or the other, please do so. If you are joining in that movement, make sure you are keeping your knee over ankle in lunge and keeping that micro bend in the half split to protect that knee joint. Okay. On your next inhale, coming up nice and slow, and I'm going to meet you in Sukhasana, so easy seat. If that, there's a couple of different ways, whichever feels best for you. You can remain on your knees. If it feels better to have a blanket or a couch cushion under your hips, that feels nice as well. And you're going to want your spine nice and tall and feeling your hip bones rooted into the earth. And as we sit here, we'll put our hands on our knees. And on an inhale, bring your uh, collarbones forward as you arch your back, a nice seated cat pose. And on the exhale, rounding those shoulders, tucking the tailbone for a cow pose or a cat pose. So inhale, cow pose, feeling that stretch in your collarbone moving forward, and a cat pose, making a nice arch. And flow through these with your breath and as feeling good. Also being mindful of the range here, making sure you're not overextending your back. It could feel a little, some sensations, but if anything today is closer to pain than it is sensation, please either change the pose and take a moment or um, let me know. On your next inhale, bringing it back to a tall, centered pose. We'll do a seated twist. So with a nice long spine, you're going to take your right hand to your left knee, and your left hand can come by your thigh, behind your hip. You can even wrap it around your lower back if that feels more comfortable. Making sure that we are twisting from the base of our spine and making sure we're still having both of our hips nice and rooted in the ground. And we can think as we twist that we're letting go of the old energy that might be stuck in us, like a tree shaking and losing the old leaves in the breeze. On the next inhale, we'll come through center, letting our left hand find our right knee and our right hand finding the ground beneath us. If it feels good, your gaze can follow and look over your right shoulder. If that feels too spicy, you can go ahead and soften your gaze in front of you or slightly in the middle. Coming through the middle here, finding that tall spine. We are going to do a seated side stretch. So bringing your left hand to the ground, your right arm reaches for the sky, and doing a nice overarch of your body, keeping your hips grounded. That right hip might want to try to reach over with your arm, but making sure it's staying rooted in the ground. We'll flow through the middle, arms reaching high as our right hand comes to the ground, left arm overhead. On our next inhale, coming up through center, reaching our left leg out in front of us, bringing our right leg tucked in. And we'll want to do um, a very micro bend in your knee. If you have another blanket accessible to you, it can be nice rolled under your knee so it doesn't hyperextend. And we're going to be bringing our chest to knee. So we'll inhale, arms up. Exhale, you twist to bring your chest towards your knee here. And it can be okay if that feels your hands are closer to your thigh, bringing that support in. Hands can be shin, ankle blocks can be very nice here if you have those or your books available. Having those to bring the earth closer to you today. As we move through the pose, if you feel called, you can explore what would 1% being more in this pose look like for you? Is it more breathing, feeling your air moving through your spine and your rib cage? Is it a more gentle hinge of the hips? Do you want to try a different hand placement? Find that 1% for you today. And slowly coming back up, feeling what that feels like in your body and switching sides with your right leg out, left leg tucked in. Inhale, arms up through center, gentle twist, and a nice micro bend with your knee and a gentle hinge here. Finding those blocks, those finger tents, if that feels better. Really tuning in and feeling the air, the crisp, cool air coming through your nose, filling along the back of your spine and your sides. See if maybe on this side you can find a 1% being more in this pose. Maybe that's different than the other side. That's okay. Our bodies aren't always even, and that's completely normal. On the next inhale, coming up, bringing our soles of our feet together, feeling rooted in our sit bones or our hip bones, uh, coming in a nice butterfly. If accessible, blocks or books can go under knees, making those knees and hips feel a bit more supported. Having your hands uh, on feet or shins. If it feels nice, you can bring a slight forward fold here with a hinge at the hips, keeping those arms um, nice and supported under you. If you're looking for a little more spice in this pose, you can try different foot placements, moving your feet closer, feeling a bit more spicy perhaps in the hips, moving them out if that feels better as we stretch some of our hips here. Okay. As we bring our legs back with an easy pose, maybe it feels better to reach them out long and give them a little shake, but meeting an easy seat when you're ready. And we'll be bringing our fingertips behind our hips, bringing our chest lift, shoulders back for a nice gentle back bend here. If you have blocks, it can be nice to bring the earth closer to you. If you're looking for a little more spice, you can interlock your fingers behind your back and bring your arms to the air. So if you have them, you can bring them away from your back, feeling that stretch in your shoulders and your back a little bit spicier, but feeling a nice back bend here of those shoulders and the spine to release here. Now we have two different options here. If it feels good to you to stay seated, we're going to do a couple more twists here where you'll have your knee, your left knee down with your right knee coming over or in front, and your left arm, your left elbow will be resting on your right knee as you twist backwards. Another option here, if you prefer to lay down as we get a little closer to supine, is you can lay on the ground with your arms in a T, bringing your knees over to the right hand side, feeling that twist in your lower and middle back. Either of these options are perfect. Just keeping your shoulders grounded if you're supine, laying down, making sure those shoulders stay on the ground. If you're on the ground laying down, bringing your knees up through center and landing on the opposite side. If you're seated, bringing that left leg over the right knee and your right elbow to your left knee. And moving into a figure four. If you are remaining seated with the knee here, you are going to take your left ankle and place it on your right leg, making sure that it's below your knee on your thigh here. And you're going to hinge forward, trying to bring that chest to your shin. If you are supine laying down, you can bring your left ankle to your right shin. And if accessible, bringing your hands around your leg. This can be around or it can be on your thigh, bringing the leg closer in. And on your next inhale, go ahead and unravel and find your way to the other side, bringing your right leg on top of your left. Crossing the ankle over the thigh, hinging slightly if you are seated, or bringing those hands to support behind the leg if you are supine. And on your next inhale, go ahead and unravel and find a nice comfortable position as we move ahead into Shavasana. This could be some wiggles, it could be a nice full body stretch if that's what you need, some nice happy baby, anything that you need to get ready for Shavasana. You can also remain seated if this feels more comfortable and gently gaze ahead. And I will guide you out of Shavasana when it's time. But for now, imagine all tensions, worries, and thoughts you are letting go and drifting away with the autumn breeze. As you rest here, imagine yourself as a tree in late autumn. The work of letting go is done. The branches are bare, but not empty. They are full of possibility, quietly holding the promise of what's to come. Feel the ground beneath you, steady, unshakable, and supporting you in your stillness. You've set down what's ready to be released today, even if it was only for a few breaths. Trust that this is enough. Let your body soften a little with each exhale. Let your mind rest in the space that you've created. There is no rush to fill it. When you're ready, slowly wiggle your fingers and toes, roll ankles and wrists, and bring awareness back into the space. As you bring in bigger movement, slowly roll to one side and move into a seated position, feeling steady, rooted, and open to the season ahead. Bringing hands to Anjali Mudra for a position at heart center. Thank you for taking the time to be here. Thank you for being here. And from my heart to yours, I hope this felt a little more grounding today. Thank you.